Dr. Singhvi, that point I was making to you about sound and how it's deliberately distorted, is that your concern? That this is being done to fuel a particular style of aggression which fuels anything but news? I
hope Vishnu didn't do that to me for 5 seconds by muting me, but that's in the lighter side. Having heard your question, you couldn't hear my answer. I started saying that knowing you as I do, you are incapable of such machinations. But the least of the crimes you'd be guilty of in terms of capacity as a journalist would be to lessen my volume and increase yours. Today, Jaivir, who has a valued colleague, has worked with me here, has raised a much larger issue. I don't think it's restricted to Mr. Tyagi. The jury will be out as to what caused this very sad and tragic death. But the issue is that this larger issue, and I'll take just a minute, Vishnu.
Yeah, go ahead.
Of sensationalism, of noise and news. This has now become, I started this game decades ago. As you know now, one of the reasons why we do mostly these one-to-ones with you or other select programs is because I have seen the debasement and the devaluation of this entire thing. And ultimately, all the sermons we give, all the programs you hold, all the seminars we do are of no use. First and foremost, it has to be self-regulation. And there is a collusion of silence, or there is a conspiracy of silence within your industry. We all know who those channels are. We all know who those anchors are. We all know that it is not an anchor who's much more royal than the king, but an anchor who is much more vigorous than the participant. We know how before you called me, you already called 2 people only for shouting. Obviously, if I was to throw a shoe at you in the studio, fortunately we are now virtual, it would get you humongous TRPs. Point is, what are your organizations doing? Is there not a way of shaming, naming, ostracizing? Remember, the power of naming and shaming is very important. Point 1. Point 2. We have, please don't go and say we make a new law and have a parliamentary select committee. You know, my favorite wag is...
our defamation law is strong enough. Isn't
no,
that the
we have the code. We have the broadcasting code. We have a cable TV act. But let me now add, we are forgetting the elephant in the room. Some of these cacophonies, noise, sensationalism, etc. benefits the government of the day. So why would they take action? Why will I take action? Let's not be very, nicey-nicey. Let's address it.
No, but Dr. Singhvi, what about rules of defamation? The fact that rules of defamation in our country are weak at best.
It's easy
Where
to
does
say,
a common
Vishnu,
citizen who's been targeted go to court and fight for years?
Vishnu, these are theoretical answers. It is like saying if you don't have bread, have cakes. You understand that for a fight on a channel, you will file a defamation against me or vice versa. And as they say in India, perhaps it's a little better now, in the old days the Privy Council judgment said, defamation in India frequently starts after the complainant files a defamation case.
Correct.
It's a very nice saying.
Right.
So these are theoretical constructs. What is our press council doing?
No, exactly. What is the press councel doing?
Have you seen the Cable TV Act?
Right. Exactly.
Have you seen the broadcasting code?
Yeah, no, I know. The broadcasting code is absolutely categorical. There are 4 or 5 norms in front of me right now, none of which are followed.
What about the Broadcasters Association?
Right.
I know that there is solidarity. I know I'm an anchor, you are an anchor, the third party anchor. I know you are a channel, I am a channel. That doesn't mean that this conspiracy of silence will go on. And this nice little thing, we sent you a warning, we sent you a censure. No. You need to name and shame. You need to make them feel isolated,
but the business of self-censorship, which the industry has sought, sir, has not worked.
Off air for so many hours if you do this.
That's one of the problems, sir. But it's a catch-22, Dr. Singhvi. The industry wants self-censorship, and yet self-censorship doesn't work. And yet if you've got the government coming in, then there are problems associated with what you mentioned.
I started by saying I am the first only to want self-control. Self-regulation. And being in public life, it's a very easy scapegoat to make that the politicians are trying to curb the press. And then you have a debate like this, oh, what do we do about noise and sensationalism? Well, you have to take your choice.
Okay.
I think the time has come for robust enforcement of the existing law.
Okay.
We are an over-legislated, under-enforced country. And we have conspiracies of silence between governments and those channels, between governments and those anchors. and within the channels in your broadcasting associations, within the community. These are all conspiracies. And I mean, I can list you from my experience of decades in this game. There are several ways you angle the topic, you interrupt, as you said,
and how you captured it. And how you capture it. Because very often people are looking at captions and they're not looking at the person speaking.
It's all ridiculous.
It's how you pitch a particular debate, which has a huge... But Dr. Singhvi, thanks very much for sharing those views with us. I know you wanted a one-on-one debate because you didn't want to get into a fight. I assure you we wouldn't afford, but nonetheless, thanks very much.